Welcome aboard, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here with you on Metaphysical Thursday. Love the sound of that. Watch the live stream, why don't you? The drgliddenshow.tv. How about that? The drgliddenshow.tv. I think I got that right. The drgliddenshow.tv is where you want to be. What we need in this world right now is intellectual authenticity. We need intellectual integrity. Quite frankly, we just need integrity. And I don't care what part of the world you're dealing with. You need integrity if you're in a relationship. You need integrity if you're a business person. You need integrity. It just said, we need integrity across the board. We do not have any when it comes to science. We don't have any intellectual integrity. Because what we have in the world, in point of fact, in point of truth, are physical phenomena, the stuff that we can measure and see and feel and wrap our minds around. And then there are metaphysical phenomena, those things which are not subject to the laws of, or they're not measurable. Things are not measurable. So, for instance, God, right? I mean, the most common metaphysical phenomenon is God. Last time I looked, nobody was ever able to measure or even prove the existence of God. You can't prove the existence of a metaphysical phenomenon, hence its metaphysicalness. You can't prove the existence of a metaphysical phenomenon or phenomenon with any type of objective criteria. You can't, prove the existence of God. You can't even prove that you love your wife, your husband, or your mother, or your father, or your brother, or your sister. You can't prove it. You might know it into your bones, but you can't prove it. You could have an out-of-the-body, near-death experience, go to heaven, go to hell, go to purgatory, go to wherever you go to nirvana, go to Kaivalya, and come back to your senses, so to speak, and you would not be able to prove what you had just experienced to anybody. And, if people weren't of the same ilk as you and they had no idea what you were talking about, they would categorize you as a kook, right? So, metaphysical phenomena are those things which are not subject to the normal laws of measurement. We have physics and we have metaphysics. If any medical professional has told you that they believe in God, and they have an MD after their name, or they're a nurse practitioner, they are hypocrites. Because MD-directed medicine, by virtue of its philosophy, remember, MDs are not trained in medicine, they're trained in allopathic medicine, and allopathic medicine has a unique philosophy. Allopathic medicine argues that if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist, and since nobody's ever measured God, God doesn't exist. So therefore, your body does not have any spiritual essence to it whatsoever. Zero, zip, nada, none. And yet the MDs are unable to tell you what brings light to the eyes of the living. Ever seen somebody die? Ever been in the presence when somebody actually died in that moment in time? The light leaves their eyes. Well, what's that all about? What was it that gave light to the eyes? The MDs don't know. What is it that gives light to our dreams? The MDs don't know. What about out-of-body experiences? What about all of the millions, if not trillions, of automatic biochemical processes which are happening every minute of every day? What's behind the architecture of those? Who's directing the show inside the human body? The MDs can't explain it. And yet, then they go to church on the weekend, or they go to temple, or they do their Buddhist meditations, or their Hindu ceremonies over the weekend, or whenever they do it. And in order to worship or attempt to touch the hem of the garment of God. And then they go back to work and they don't believe in God. And then in their private lives, they try to have some type of relationship with God. And then they go back to work and they don't believe in the existence of God. This is out integrity. I did a personal training through an organization called Landmark Education years and years ago. They have a really great program called The Forum. I recommend everybody look into it. Really good personal development stuff. Really, really great stuff. But and one of the things that they talk about in that course is being out of integrity, right? You know, doing one thing and saying that you're going to do something and not doing it, or telling somebody you're lying, basically, or not following through on what you're about. You know, being a Democrat when you're talking to some people and then being a Republican when you're talking to somebody else in order just to suit the mood. There's no integrity there. Well, there's no integrity in the way that medicine is delivered here. There's no integrity. If your MD tells you that they are a religious person, then they're hypocrites. And we put up with it, and we give them a pass, and nobody ever holds their feet to the fire or questions them about this. And this is one of the reasons why we have such unbelievably poor outcomes, because there is zero integrity in medicine. Zero. Quite frankly, there's zero integrity in the entire science department, scientific circles of the world. Old, outdated theories exist, right? And just because somebody years ago said that things were such and such and such, then the scientific method closes people's minds. So rather than opening people's minds and really actually doing an objective assessment of the situation and trying to come to a conclusion, we don't do that. We just roll out the stuff that we were taught in school, and we just go by the party line, right? I mean, what is it that causes tornadoes? It's not intersecting winds at altitude, I can tell you that. Nobody knows what causes tornadoes. What is it that causes atoms to spin? What is it that causes electrons to spin around the atom? What is it that causes the moon to go around the Earth? What is it that causes the Earth to rotate on its axis? What is it that causes the entire solar system to move through the Milky Way galaxy? What is it that causes the Milky Way galaxy itself to spin? What is it? What is it that causes that? Well, the scientific method will tell you. The party line is that after the Big Bang Theory, when everything got shot out of nothingness and came into existence, how the heck did that happen? Again, they're unable to explain that. Because there's no friction in space, the momentum that particles came into the universe with just carries through because there's no friction. Right? I mean, if you go up into space and hit a 9-iron, that golf ball is going to just continue to go forever. It's never, ever, ever going to stop, but that's an incorrect notion. According to the laws of gravity, there's so much mass in the universe that if it was, in fact, only the velocity of the Big Bang imparted to particles, sheer gravitational force by now, which is trillions of years after the fact, by the way. A long, long, long time has gone by. Gravitational forces would have brought everything to a halt. So the Earth would no longer be going around the sun. It would just be in one place. The sun would be in one place, and everything would have coalesced. This is, by the way, the same reason that makes the moon show one face to the Earth all the time, right? Why is that? It's because there's a gravitational effect. I forget the name of it off the top of my head. But because the moon has been in proximity to the gravitational field of the Earth for so long, the moon spins on its axis in exactly the same amount of time that it goes around the Earth. And their tidal gravitation or something, I forget, there's a name for this. But it's the reason that the moon, doesn't show us all 360 degrees of itself. It's only one face all the time. Because the moon goes around the Earth in the exact same amount of time that it takes the moon to revolve around its axis once. Very interesting stuff. But my point here is that there is no integrity in scientific circles. Because nobody investigates this. Nobody even looks at it. Nobody tries to come to terms with what causes things. They just see things, and then they interpret things based on what they were taught with no mind towards real, honest investigation. And real honest investigation must include both sides of the coin. It must include physical phenomena, and it must include metaphysical phenomena. Because the universe is both. But scientists only look at one side of the coin. They only look at one side of the coin. Quantum physicists, arguably, kind of sort of get into the metaphysical area, but they don't do it on purpose. They do it kind of by default. Einstein's fuzzy action at a distance spooky action at a distance is a perfect example of this. But my point here is that your medical doctor, unless they're an atheist, if your MD is an atheist, then they have integrity. But if your MD believes in God, if your MD is of any religious persuasion whatsoever, any spiritual persuasion whatsoever, then they're a hypocrite. And because nobody holds their feet to the fire, because nobody calls them on their hypocrisy, they are able to practice old-fashioned, outdated, substandard, archaic, juvenile, dangerous, and expensive therapeutics. And so they do. Because they do not have intellectual integrity. They don't. Holistic physicians do. By the way, every other system of medicine on planet Earth is holistic except what the MDs do. And every other system of medicine on the planet has a metaphysical interpretation, understanding, tries to go there, tries to articulate what's happening behind the scenes. Acupuncturists do it, with the energy body, the energy meridians in the body. Homeopaths do it with their understanding of the vital force. Naturopaths do it with their understanding of the body's God-given natural ability to fix itself, but not the MDs. And this is why it is of maximum importance that you fire your MD now, because their view of how your body works is juvenile, old-fashioned, outdated, and dangerous. Stick around, folks. 844-374-5433, 844-374-5433. That's the number to call if you'd like to speak with me live today. Also, if you'd like to check out the live video stream, the Dr. Glidden Show.tv. Right now we have 86 people in the chat room, 85 people now in the chat room watching the live stream, people from all around the world. Let's get to the phones right now, to studio, and see what's cracking. Rita from California is calling with a question. Hey, Rita, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Oh, Canada, I read it wrong. It's the end of the week, and I haven't had any coffee today. See, that's my problem.
Well, CA is CA. Doesn't matter if it's California or Canada.
Oh, Canada. We love Canada.
That's good.
How are you guys?
I'm calling back because I phoned in a few weeks ago, and I will go over what I said because I don't expect you would remember.
Okay.
I phoned in because I had been on your program, and then I switched from the osteo powder to the liquid.
Yeah.
And gradually I started going back to having problems with my bowel again, which I didn't have when I started with you. Like when I started with the OsteoFX powder, my problems went away is what I'm trying to say. And then when I switched to the liquid, it gradually went back to where it was before.
With diarrhea and loose stool, right?
Yeah, in the end it got to that, and then I phoned in and Mike said to take the liquid at night with some orange juice, not water, but just some orange juice, and I did that, and I really had diarrhea.
Okay, so why did I tell you to switch? I mean, there must have been a calcium deficiency thing that was at play, like an arthritic thing or restless leg thing or high blood pressure thing?
No, you didn't tell me to switch. I did that on my own because I was having a bit of headachy stuff, and I don't know, a few other things where I can't remember now were going on, and I decided to switch on my own. You didn't recommend it.
Okay, so I mean, how do you feel, generally speaking, besides the loose stool from the calcium?
Well, what happened was I got diarrhea and I couldn't get rid of it. It continued, and so I phoned in, and you suggested that I go, after the bowel calmed down, that I go back and try each day a different thing and see what was causing it.
Got it. Okay, so did you do that?
Yes, and the first day I took, as you suggested, 1 scoop of the BTT water, and that night I had, let me see, was it that night? I'm trying to remember exactly what I'm saying here. Within 15 minutes, I was in the bathroom.
Okay, so that's pretty much nails it down for Beyond Tangy Tangerine.
Yeah, and the other thing that I noticed at the same time, I've been having trouble with my nose, like sores in my nose.
Yeah.
And I noticed that there was more blood in my nose, a bigger area at that time too. And I'm going to throw this in because I don't know if it makes any difference or tells you anything. I'm a little nervous, as you can tell.
No, you're doing a great job. You're doing a really, really good job.
I took an Epsom salt bath yesterday.
Yeah.
I think I fell asleep in there, and so I was in for a long time. And when I came out, I noticed more blood in my nose. So I don't know if that has anything.
Okay. So after you reintroduced the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, right, and then you had loose stools again.
Yes.
Did you then wait a day and then reintroduce another supplement?
The next day, I tried the essential fatty acids, and I had no problem with those.
Okay.
And then on the third day, I tried the OsteoFX, and I had no problem with it. I just took 1 scoop.
Okay. Of the powder.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I took the fatty acids and the osteo powder, and I'm okay taking those together.
Okay. And were you taking anything else, selenium or killer biotic or nightly essence or anything?
What I had, because I had diarrhea for, 4 or 5 weeks. So finally I went on some probiotics, not yours. It was suggested by somebody else. And then I started taking, because I was out of the root belly.
Yeah.
And after a while, that finally kind of calmed it down enough for me to test it.
Okay, understood. So now we've kind of cleared the deck, and we're of the understanding that it's the Beyond Tangy Tangerine that's the culprit, right?
I'm not perfectly confident, but it's I don't have diarrhea.
Okay. All right. Stick with me, Rita. I've got a lot to tell you when we come back. I appreciate the call very much. Hey, everybody. Guess what? It's the luckiest day of your life. This is Fire Your MD Now. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Could listen to Carlos all day. Don't you agree? Talking to Rita from California. Why do I say that all the time? Canada. Rita from up in my favorite province of Canada, Alberta. Trying to figure out what's going on here. Well, listen, Rita, where there's smoke, there's fire. And so.
I'm listening.
Right. So when you eliminate all of the nutritional supplements and give your digestive tract time to settle down, right, and then you reintroduce the supplements one at a time, well, it's easy to know what's causing the gastrointestinal upset, and in this case, it's the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. So are you taking the orange label or the blue label? Are you taking the red crystals or the orange crystals?
You're talking about the tangerine?
Yeah.
It's Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Citrus, Peach.
All right, it's the peach infusion? Okay. So this means, now when you took that, how did you take it? Do you remember?
I took it with a scoop in about 12 ounces of water, and I took it really slowly.
Okay, so that's an indication that so what this means is that your digestive tract is messed up because it can't absorb the Beyond Tangy Tangerine efficiently. And that's not because the Beyond Tangy Tangerine has anything bad in it. If it did have anything bad in it, everybody who took it would get loose stool, right? But so this is actually a diagnostic indication that your intestinal tract needs extra help. So given this set of circumstances, what I would do is for the rest of June and all of July, I would stop the Beyond Tangy completely. Just don't take it. Take everything else. as we recommended.
The digestive enzymes and those two, and the
everything else.
Okay.
The OsteoFX, the essential fatty acids, everything else you were taking. Okay.
Okay.
And you must dial in the gluten-free lifestyle. Have you done that?
Yes.
Okay. Very, very, very good. Now, one thing that you can do here to sweeten the pot and to move things along would be for the entire month of July. Get 2 bottles of Mackey Plus. That's MAQUI Plus. 2 bottles of Mackey Plus.
MAQUI Plus. Okay.
Yeah. And take 1 ounce of that twice a day.
1 ounce twice.
Yeah. Now the Mackey Plus will soothe and help your intestinal tract to optimize its structure and function. And that's what needs to happen here. Because, through decades of unwitting consumption of wheat, barley, rye, and oats, which wasn't your fault, it was your medical doctor's fault. Through decades of eating that stuff, you've hurt your intestinal tract, and that's the organ that absorbs nutrients into your body.
Right.
And that's why you're getting diarrhea. So we need to give that a little extra help here, and a really good way to do that is with 2 things. One is the Mackey Plus, and the other would be the probiotics, which you're already doing.
Okay. So how much of the probiotics are you recommending?
Well, I don't know which brand you got, but generally speaking, I would take twice the recommended dosage on the bottle.
Okay.
Before bed.
Okay.
Twice the recommended dose on the bottle before bed, but you should only need to do that for, So I would do the Mackey Plus in addition to the probiotics for the entire month of July.
Okay, and the Mackey Plus is a liquid. I don't have to put it in water or anything?
Yeah, you can. Depending on how it tastes pretty good. You can dilute it in a little bit of water if you want to, or put it in some juice, or mix it with tequila if you want. Okay.
I don't have any.
But yeah, 1 ounce of that twice a day on top of everything else that you're doing, and then
for the month of July, not.
Yeah, right. And then in August, when you feel rough and ready.
Okay.
Reintroduce the Beyond Tangy Tangerine a little bit at a time and see how you do.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm really happy to try this, and I'm really happy that I got on, and I have something to, somebody to tell me something to.
Well, yeah, and arguably, right, there is a bottleneck here at Youngevity, right? And this is why I'm on the radio for 2 hours a day. Shortly, I'm going to be on for 3 hours a day. God willing, Dr. Wallach's on for 2 hours a day. And we have lots of support in my back office. And by the way, very, very, very shortly, as part of the subscription service on my website, we're going to be rolling out a forum where all of these questions will have been answered. And so when you're up against a sticky wicket like this in a couple of weeks, you'll just be able to go to the forum, find an answer to this question, and it'll be easy breezy.
That'll be fantastic, because it's really, when you don't know what to do, it's really helpful to have a place to go.
Yeah, absolutely, positively, and that's why we're here. And, because in our own defense here, because we are a low-budget operation, right, we're learning as we go. And the technology that we had to develop, or not develop, but the technology that we had to secure and then learn how to use and then put into place so that it wouldn't crash. I mean, it was a really pretty complicated thing, but I have an awesome tech team.
Well, that's fantastic.
We've got your back, so keep your fingers crossed, Rita. I appreciate your support. And give me a call back every once in a while. Let me know how it's going. I appreciate you very much. Let's see who's up next. From Calgary to Kansas City. Uh-oh. Cheryl has a friend with a brain bleed. OMG. Hey, Cheryl, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden.
Hey, Cheryl, what's going on?
Well, I have a friend that had a brain bleed about a month ago.
Yikes.
And she also has a Baker's cyst, but she's
Yikes.
not treating that right now, but she's on 6 different medications. Do you need to know them?
No.
Okay. And she is on on Synthroid for her thyroid, and I know that you probably would recommend the Heart and Brain Pack. And I ordered all the products but the selenium because I didn't know how that would mix with her Synthroid.
Oh, well, that makes you the smartest woman in the United States, because you're absolutely right. Synthroid is thyroid hormone 4. It's T4. And there are a number of thyroid hormones, but the two biggest ones that we pay attention to, and I don't really know why, but we do, is T3 and T4. And Synthroid is just T4. The body makes both T3 and T4. Interestingly enough, T3 is 4 times as strong and effective as T4. T3 is stronger and more effective than T4. But the MDs, in their old-fashioned, juvenile, outdated, dangerous understanding of physiology, and because of their genuflection at the altar of the pharmaceutical companies, they don't question anything. And so the pharmaceutical companies roll out a product that's just T4. Far be it from the MD to question authority or to put up any type of a fuss about that. So the body will transform T4 into T3, which is its preferred thyroid hormone. But guess what it needs to do that? It needs selenium. So if you are selenium deficient, the Synthroid that you're going to be taking is going to be having less than profound effects on the human body. Now, you would think that if the pharmaceutical companies, who know all of this, by the way, I mean, the guys working at the pharmaceutical companies are pretty smart buckaroos. They know this. They know that selenium is necessary, and so you would think if they were humanitarian, if they really were out, if they had your back, that they would include selenium in with the T4. You would think that they would do that. That would just make sense, right? But they don't. Why don't they do that? Because if they did that, they would need less. The people would need less of the prescription. So they would sell less drugs if they did that. So they don't do that. But it's a point very well taken. If anybody is taking Synthroid, and for whatever reason they start supplementing with a bioavailable selenium supplement, all of a sudden the Synthroid is going to be working 2, sometimes 3 times as effectively as it was in the past. So we need to be mindful of that, but absolutely positively you want to give selenium. But what I counsel everybody to do who's taking Synthroid, and then they start a medical nutrition program which invariably has selenium in it, just read up on the side effects of an overdose of Synthroid, right? And just know what those are, because it's entirely possible that just by adding selenium into the bargain, your Synthroid is going to start working too strongly and you're going to need to back off on the dosage. And if you don't know what that feels like, you'll think that you'll be all, worried for no reason when it's simply too much Synthroid. And so, but it's a point well taken. But it's more important for somebody to have more selenium and less Synthroid, right? So there's no harm and no foul here in recommending somebody who has a thyroid issue to take selenium supplementation in order to support and promote the structure and function of their thyroid. So, and we don't really know, there's no real kind of hard and fast rule here. So generally what we do, the recommendation here would be 1 healthy brain and heart pack and 1 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. But all of this begs the question, Cheryl, does anybody know what caused the brain bleed? Do they know what caused that?
No, I don't. I don't think they know, but I will tell you, this woman has been under an extreme amount of stress.
Yeah, well, life is a great big bowl of stress, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, whenever there's extracurricular bleeding in the body where there shouldn't be, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, this could be a burst little blood vessel in the brain. It could be a simple thing as the clotting cascade in the body doesn't have enough nutrients in order to function properly. So the first thing that I would do is I would tell her to floss her teeth. And if she bleeds, if her gums bleed when she flosses her teeth, then it is entirely possible that the bleeding in the brain is caused by a simple calcium deficiency. Mm. And, of course, MDs will overlook that because they're idiots. well, they're not idiots, but they're Neanderthals in their understanding of pathophysiology. So whenever you have bleeding anywhere where there shouldn't be bleeding, like, spotting between your periods, or like a super heavy menstrual flow, or your gums bleed when you floss them, right? Or, you prick your finger on a rose bush and it bleeds for an hour, right? Instead of just clotting up. That's a calcium deficiency. So in addition to the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and selenium, I would give one extra bottle of either Beyond OsteoFX or the Cal-Toddy every month. That's how I would handle it.
Okay. Now, none of these will interfere with the medication she's on. They've got her pretty loaded down, and she doesn't like it, but...
No, quite the contrary. And this is again, in a perfect world, it would be mandatory for MDs to prescribe nutritional supplements with drugs, because how do drugs work? They work by upregulating or messing with biochemical pathways in the body, which are made from vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and essential fatty acids. So the longer that you're on drugs, especially more than 2, the more deficient you become in your nutrients, and the less effective the drugs are, which is why they need to add another drug or increase the dosage. When you give your body medical nutrition while you're taking prescription medications, they work better. So it's exactly the opposite of what you think. But it's a great question, which makes you the smartest woman in the United States. Stick around, folks. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Finishing out the first hour here, Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health. If you haven't done it already, check out my website, please. What are you waiting for? drglidden.com. That's Glidden, just like the paint. No relation, drglidden.com. Check it out. Become an insider, why don't you? $20 a month, give you immediate access to 100-plus hours of archived health webinars, 3+ hours a week of live health webinars. Next one tonight, by the way, worldwide live chat tonight, 8 o'clock Central Time, drglidden.com. Check it out. If you'd like to call the show and talk to me via the radio, 844-374-5433. That's 844-374-5433. Interestingly, we do have lines open, and that never happens. So give us a call. And if you're in the chat room, because there's 100 people in the chat room and there's too many questions for me to get to today, call the show. 844-374-5433. Let's go to Tom in Maryland. Hey, Tom, thanks for the call. You are live.
Thank you, Dr. Glidden. Thanks for taking my call. I'm a new listener. I just happened today to miss the first part of your show, and it was the most important because I just so happened to be looking for a new doctor that's not Western medicine bent doctor, someone who's a naturopath, more alternative. But I wanted to clarify, did you say that if a doctor is religious that it's not a good doctor to go to?
No, not at all. What I'm saying is any MDs are trained in a reductionistic method. And there's basically two philosophical schools of thought in medical science in the world right now. There's reductionism and there's holism. Every other doctor in the world, naturopath, homeopath, chiropractor, Ayurvedic practitioner, traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncturist, etc., every medical profession in the world espouses a holistic method, a holistic philosophy, except the MD. The MD is trained and espouses reductionism. Now, reductionism argues God doesn't exist. Reductionism argues if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. If you can't objectively prove it, it doesn't exist. So that's why the MDs don't believe that the body is inhabited by any type of a spiritual soul force energy thing. They think all this energy medicine, all this acupuncture stuff, all this homeopathy stuff, all this vital force stuff is just a fiction. It's all placebo.
Okay. So I got to be backwards.
Yeah, so it's ironic, right? Because most MDs are religious, but that's hypocritical on their part. That's like being a communist at work and then democratic at home. It's nuts, and there's no integrity there, which is why we have a giant meltdown in the medical system, because the medical philosophy that MDs espouse is ill-suited for, any type of chronic illness. They're the wrong dog for the hunt.
Now, I know the words are different, but do you think it's a coincidence that hypocrite and Hippocratic oath?
That's a good one, Tom. And I don't know why I didn't think that one up myself. Man, I should have. I don't know how I missed that one. But, yeah, man, you're right on there. So, listen, if we have just a minute left in this segment, if I can be so bold as to ask, are you suffering with any, chronic health conditions now that you need help with?
It's a serious one, and I'll make it quick. Do you provide private consultations for a fee?
I do, and most of the time it's not necessary. But but I do. It's $200 for an hour, and we do it all over the phone. You have to sign a contract with me, and I'll give you a consultation. If you'd like to set that up, 855-347-3696, 855-347-3696. We can get that started as soon as Monday. I'll look forward to that phone call. Appreciate you. Good luck, whatever you decide to do. Ladies and gentlemen, hour 2 coming up. Don't even think about touching that dial.